Hi, I thought I'd come back on and give you kind of an update. I was watching my earlier videos and I got to thinking that they are kind of hard to follow. The way I go into it, I do go kind of fast, and it probably doesn't always make sense to people. Because I assume, well, I don't assume, I just forget that you might not know certain details. So let me just kind of give you an update of what I learned, and it'll probably make maybe the whole thing, the earlier videos, make sense if I explain to you what I managed to recall since those last videos. The latter part of 2001 and 2002, I do recall being hypnotized. I think I was drugged. I know I was drugged. And some kind of a feel-good drug, one that I had not paid for. So they drugged me with something, and I remember them. I've done a lot of reading on hypnosis now, and I remember them. I remember specifically the early stages of a hypnotist beginning to work on me, and I remember laying down in bed and beginning the hypnotism process. So I do know for a fact now that I was hypnotized, and I don't think it's a wild goose chase that they've like led me to believe that I was hypnotized back in 2001. I actually believe that this is an accurate picture of one of the ways that this all started with me was through hypnosis. I also believe that, well, I also know that there is high technology. They had to communicate with me somehow to hypnotize me. I mean, I was in my apartment when this hypnotism took place, so they were able to communicate with me. Either they had some kind of a, communication device set up in the vents, or I don't know. I'm not familiar with all the different high-tech stuff, but even most laymen understand that the military and government does have some pretty high-tech stuff that they could communicate with me, possibly via satellite or via some kind of communication thing that they put in the room. But however they did it, they were able to hypnotize me, and I recall that now. This is new information I wasn't able to put into the earlier videos. I also think, again, I do believe that there's technology involved in it as well, but hypnotism definitely plays a part in it. And so they drugged me and they hypnotized me. This is the latter part of 2001. And I think what they did is they were able to, that first hypnotism kind of just set the stage for me to forget all the hypnotisms past that. Now, my guess is they were probably working on me while I was asleep. They communicated with me through some kind of high-tech communication device. Over the years, all the attempts to try and incite me to violence, some kind of a violent attack, leads me to believe that, and because of me knowing Robert Joes and him knowing Timothy McVeigh, and Timothy McVeigh talking about being chipped. Now, whether or not I was chipped or not, I don't know. My point is that it seems to me like, well, it just makes logical sense that what they were trying to do in my case was to force me, just by torturing the shit out of me for years, into some kind of act of violence. And that's exactly what they were doing. They were constantly trying to torture me into striking back. And I would have actually been justified in doing so. The thing is that I was obviously under complete, total surveillance this whole time. I mean, they had me completely surrounded by agents and people that were sympathetic to this action all the time. I was completely surrounded by scum, and still really am, as far as I can tell, mostly surrounded by scum. They were able to, if they were able to pull this off, to get me to be a patsy and go and attack somebody, a building or a person or whatever that I thought that was doing this to me, because they were always trying to get, different people, lead me to believe it was certain people or certain government things. They would be completely aware of it, so of course they could be ready for it. You understand? And so it would have been a controlled Manchurian candidate, so to speak. was their primary objective. I think probably by 2003, 2004, they more or less had figured out that that wasn't going to work with me. I wasn't going to fall for it, and so they tried to get me to kill me. At that point, it was just they're just going to, you know, they rather than offer me themselves, they tried to get me to kill myself. And again, as I said, it more or less was successful. I just happened to survive the suicide attempts, and so that was the game. There's a lot of other people that are coming forward as TIs. I don't know these people. I've heard a lot of their stories. It seems odd to me that one TI that's doing very well in the courts is one that happens to not the guilty party in my case is elements of the United States government and military. The criminal parties in his case are a business rival. His case is doing well. My case was dismissed. He's got doctors and a lot of other people on his side. I can't get anybody to work with me. So I believe that a lot of the TIs are nothing more than a government. I can't speak for everybody, but a lot of especially the leaders of these different TI groups are damage control. They're going to have to eventually come forward with it, so they want to do as much damage control as they can, and there's really not too much I can do about that because the majority of the TI people are desperate to get this stopped, so they're willing to go ahead and get in line for whatever the government's going to do for them. Myself personally, I still associate myself with the TI community, but I don't see a satisfactory resolution there. What I see there is whatever the government's going to throw us and what they're going to allow to get out. Myself personally, I firmly believe that in my case that they were trying to manufacture terrorists. This wasn't just an experimentation. They wanted me to drive me to an act of violence so they could justify the further expansion of their power. See, look at this guy. He was a political activist, and look what he did, that kind of thing. And you know, and it didn't work with me, so you know, I can pat myself on the back, sort of. So that's my take on it. And if I don't have any evidence, so to speak, as far as evidence, I do have some evidence, but nothing really concrete. The way that COINTELPRO works now, anyway, is that they attack you in such a way that they do gaslighting. They will have one person do like a normal act, but they will have like 5,000 people do that same act. So if you complain about it, well, I have everybody doing this to me, well, you sound insane. You understand? And if just one person's doing it, it would not be an insane, crazy act. But they will have like this extraordinarily high number of people all do the same act, to where any rational person would have to say that, hey, there's a group of people all doing this same thing to me. And it's a big game for them. It's called gaslighting. And it's a very clever way of taking the target out of reality, letting them know that they're being watched, which adds to paranoia, and also there's no way you can really complain about it. I have people, if you say, you know, I have people, everybody that I meet says such, you know, it's different. They do a lot of different things, but I could go on and on and on about all the different little things that they've done, and if I was to tell you these things, it would just be, well, it's no big deal. It happens to me all the time. But it doesn't happen to you 5,000 times over the course of a week. You understand? It's an extraordinary amount of these coincidences for a variety of different reasons. There's a lot of different reasons why they attack this way. And there's really no way to complain about it. Not all the attacks that they do are violent. It's also made to just make you, what the hell are they doing kind of stuff, you know, bizarre behavior that really takes the target out of reality. and it's very difficult to stay in reality when people are like doing shows with you, and you know, they'll lead you to believe that you're like a TV star and stuff like that, because they have all these people like play acting, and it's very obvious, and multiple people will do and say the exact same words to you like all throughout the day, and you know, it's a way to take you out of reality, and so on and so forth. And it's organized. I mean, it's done in an organized fashion. So the COINTELPRO, though, I've been able to pretty much diffuse most of it. Not all of it, but most of it I've been able to diffuse by filming it, recording it. In fact, that's what I suggest if you do become a victim of COINTELPRO. Is basically, I've had to film my whole life, and I do have about 4 different recording devices that basically are on me most of the time. Most of the time I'm recording. So, and through most of these attacks, they kept me financially crippled. I was doing okay when all this started. I want to make that explicitly clear. I was actually, you know, I had lived in a pretty nice place, blah blah blah, had a pretty good job, you know, and all this good stuff. And you know, it doesn't take long with this many people working on you for them to, especially with the power that the United States government can wield if they're doing it illegally, to you know, and lying about you and stuff. It doesn't take them too long to run you out of jobs, you know. So. So there was no way that I could afford these recording devices. So if you happen to be somebody that you know, believes that the United States government is going the wrong way, I would highly advise you do get some kind of way of recording. You know, even a cell cam or whatever. You know, have it with you. I personally, I hate cell cams. I hate to have all this shit. I'm not a materialistic person, and I don't like all this shit, but I have to have it. I have to have it because I have to be able to protect myself from the people that do have it. If I don't have it, all these assholes that do are going to use it against me. So I have to have it to protect myself. And to me, a cell phone is a ball and chain, but I have one, you know, with the camera and all that. So, you know, that's just the way it is. It's kind of poetic justice in my view that they're finding out that the cell cams are the ones that are killing all the bees. I figure, you know, people get what you deserve. So my point of all that rant was just simply that filming them, as much as I hate to say it, that's really about the only thing you can really do as far as getting them, that I've found anyway, that really gets them to back off as far as the COINTELPRO. As far as why they backed off, as far as the electronic attacks and the voices and stuff like that, again, I'm recording all the time, so I don't know if the camera picks up their voices, you know, in here or what have you. But I am recording all the time, so we'll see. I'm letting it go for a while, but we'll find out here soon enough. I feel like there's probably a lot more I should be telling you. For the other people out there, and I do know that people like Robert Jones and a few other people that I met, you know, prior to when all this started, that I do know definitely are real targeted individuals. I do know there are real targeted individuals out there. Whether or not they've been attacked the same way I have, I don't know. And whether or not this whole TI community now is nothing but a big psych op for the American people, I don't know. It sure seems to be. It sure seems to be a great big psych op. To me, that's my opinion. But you know, I'll just kind of stay. I'm just kind of on the fringes of it. Just kind of watch where it goes. And it doesn't seem like it's going to do anything but damage control. Something might get done, but it seems to me like it's mostly damage control. The whole human experimentation thing, I think, is a little watered down. I think it's manufacturing terrorists is what this program initially was, and manufacturing terrorists. That's how sick your government is, and that's how sick they are. I'm not insane, and this ain't no conspiracy theory. I've lived it for 10 years.